I'm Leslie Oley. This is Bridget Hurley. We're both on the organizing committee. And this next part of the program is really core to our mission at MedtechVision. We started the Ferolyn Powell Leadership Award in 2015, last year, on the 5th anniversary of the MedtechVision conference to honor the legacy of Ferolyn Powell. This award is really meant to celebrate the really rare combination of persistence, passion, a dedication to innovation for patients, and a commitment to mentoring others, principles that were really embodied by Ferolyn. As the president and CEO of eValve, she led the team through seemingly unsolvable challenges with a really fierce dedication and commitment to her colleagues and to patients. As one of the only few female CEOs in the medtech field, I'll personally always remember how impressively generous and really deliberate she was about spending time to mentor young entrepreneurs and students through the Stanford Biodesign program. And as Deb said at last year's conference, she always took the meeting. I know there are many people in this room who have been touched and inspired by Ferolyn. And I also know there's probably some who didn't have the opportunity to meet her. But if you've been lucky enough to know a female leader who embodies a rare combination of her persistence, passion, intellect, dedication, and kindness, then you probably have an appreciation for the special combination of traits, and more importantly, the mark that they can leave on the world and on our next generation of leaders. So we thought it was really important to establish this award to honor Ferolyn's legacy and to celebrate other female leaders who are carrying out her mission.
At last year's conference, Liz McDermott, Ferolyn's sister, who was also the head of clinical and regulatory at eValve, accepted the award on behalf of Ferolyn. Liz, thank you again for being here today. We appreciate your continued support of MedtechVision. Today I'm honored to announce the second annual Ferolyn Powell Leadership Award to someone who really exemplifies the key themes of this award, Kim Popovits. She's the chairman of the board, CEO, and president of Genomic Health. Kim joined Genomic Health in 2002 and has led their team in revolutionizing the treatment of cancer through genomic-based diagnostic tests for breast, colon, and prostate cancer. In the US, more than 150,000 women are diagnosed with early-stage breast cancer, yet only 4 out of 100 will benefit from chemotherapy, which I found astounding. Although many people said that it could never be done or that payers would never cover an expensive diagnostic test, Genomic Health has the only test proven to predict chemotherapy benefit and is now considered the standard of care for women and covered by all major insurance companies. Kim never lost sight of what Genomic Health could do for the patient, get the right drug to the right patient at the right time. And as many of you may remember from last year's conference, Susan Stimson, our resident interviewer, interviewed Kim in the CEO session. And like today's interview with Erica, I think Kim's advice about leadership and mentorship translated to everyone in the room, no matter what role you have. Kim talked about her path from Genentech to Genomic Health and how important it is to understand what you want from your next job, beyond simply a title or a position. And for women in particular, she made the point of how critical it is to ensure that you're recognized for your contributions. As Ferolyn was known to say, you need to create a record of success, know what you're worth, and don't doubt it. Both Ferolyn and Kim have taken a proactive role to mentor women, which is what we want to highlight with this award. Today, as we reflect on the passion and dedication of Ferolyn's legacy, we'd also encourage everyone to take a moment and think about who you can mentor in your network. In addition to dedication to mentoring, Kim serves on several boards and was named the most admired CEO in 2014. Please join me in congratulating Kim as our recipient for the 2016 Ferolyn Powell Leadership Award.
Thank you very much. Hugely honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, this is humbling to say the least. I have to say I did not know Ferolyn personally, but I felt over this past weekend reading about Ferolyn, her family, her colleagues, Liz, what an inspiration, and it makes this award even more humbling. And I'd like to touch on just a couple of things. Leadership, for sure, and my view on that. Mentorship, because like Ferolyn, I believe that it's a responsibility and probably one of the most important and rewarding things that I do. And then lastly, gratitude. Gratitude for being here today, for being with such amazing colleagues, my colleagues from Genomic Health, those that are here, but all of you in the room, because the best way for us to honor Ferolyn and ourselves, right, is to leave a legacy through the impression that we make on others. And the impression that Ferolyn has made is profound. And she continues to make it, right? Because she made it on me this weekend. And she's not here in person, but she inspired my heart and made me think more about who I want to be and what I want to do. So for that, I thank you, Ferolyn, and I thank all of you for just an incredible honor. So back to leadership for just a minute. I was thinking kind of a funny story, actually, so I hope you'll appreciate it in the context that I'm reporting it. A couple of years ago, maybe it wasn't even that long ago, but it was, I was sitting and I was filling out a form. I was attending a business/investor conference. It was one of those conferences where they wanted everybody to kind of get to know each other in a more fun way, so they give you a couple of questions. And I've been to them before where they say, tell people something that they don't know about you. And this particular one was, what is your favorite movie? And I happened to be sitting with my husband and son. I've been outnumbered by men all of my life between brothers, and I even said earlier to Liz, our dog's a male. I don't know how I didn't get in the way of that one, but I didn't. I missed that opportunity. So I was looking at the form, and I was with Pat and Patrick, and I said, well, here's an easy one for me. And they both went, oh, God, you're not going to put that. And I said, well, what do you mean? And they said, are you going to put The Sound of Music? And I said, well, no, actually, I'm debating between that and The Wizard of Oz. So, Mom, that's so lame. You can't list that in a business context, and for a meeting like this, you got to come up with something else. And so, of course, I'm thinking they would probably have preferred Scarface or Pulp Fiction or something awful like that. So I actually said to them, though, and I don't know why this never occurred to me, I said, well, why do you guys think I like those movies, and why do you tease me every year when I want to watch them when they come on TV? And they said, oh, you know, the magical fairy tale, the wedding, the love story. I said, well, that's not it at all. So when I think about those two movies and being a little girl, and they came on TV right about the time I was born, and watching them every year, what I saw were two very ordinary young women that were presented with an extraordinary circumstance, right? So you've got Dorothy from Kansas, and there's Kim from Michigan, right? You've got, Maria, the nanny, right, deciding if she wants to be a nun. Nobody was thinking about being a CEO, right? And when I think about what they did through their path and that journey that they each took, very different, it took things like smarts and a big heart and a lot of courage and a lot of resilience, tenacity. Those are the things that I really think make great leaders. Now, I don't know when I was young if I was really picking up on it as we went along, that's what I was really drawn to in those two movies. But when I think back on it today, it's what I really think leadership's about. And when you hear some of the quotes, and I actually, when I was looking, I wanted to write these down because I thought it was so, I was thinking what I just said to all of you. And then I went online and I thought I wanted to learn a little bit more about Ferolyn. And the first thing I came to was about Ferolyn. Charismatic, tenacious, bright, compassionate, known for her drive, her intellect, her intrepid spirit that came from a generous heart. And I thought, wow, that is what I embody in leaders. It's what I hope to be in a leader. It's what I aspire to be better at every day. So when I think back to my lame movies, I think they're definitely appropriate for what we're talking about today in this room. The other thing on mentorship, when I think about how often do we really focus on it, I think a lot of the mentoring we do is informal mentoring, but there's also formal mentoring that's also very helpful to people. I'd also looked at one of the things that Ferolyn said about that, and she said, and you quoted it just a minute ago, know what you're worth and don't doubt it. I mean, how many of us in this room have found times in our careers where we've doubted, are we good enough? Can we do the job? Maybe we're not deserving. Knowing what you're worth and don't doubt it is a hard thing, I think, sometimes, especially for women to do. And we talked a little bit about that last year. And I think about when I mentor people, I'm not trying to change who they are, right? It's not about that. It's showing them who they can be and what's in them. And I'll link that one back to The Wizard of Oz, too, because anybody remember the song, Oz didn't give anything to the Tin Man he didn't already have? That's what I think about with mentoring. You know, you're really trying to bring somebody along to inspire them to do something that they thought was not possible. And I'm often said, you know, what do you think is impossible? I think, well, I mean, most things that somebody tells me, if somebody tells me something can't be done, what does that do to most of us? Just motivates me to prove, oh, it can be done. And I'll find a way, and I won't do it solo. I'm going to find a way by going out and recruiting people like you that can believe in that vision and that mission and are as excited and passionate about it to get us over the finish line. And that's what I simply think I've done at Genomic Health. And the final thing I'll talk about is gratitude, because it's the one I think that, you know, sometimes it's hard to accept the compliments. Humility, I've always valued, but sometimes I think we can overdo it. And I'd challenge you on that one too. So as hard as it is for me sometimes to just say thank you, I'm saying thank you because this is hugely inspiring. And one of the comments that came through a series of emails, and I looked at it and I said, wow, I never thought about it this way. So to tell you how much I've been inspired, the comment was from one of the organizers here at MedTech was breast cancer would be materially different without Genomic Health, and Genomic Health would be materially different without Kim Popovits. And I read that and I thought, how are you going to stand up and say that's not true, I didn't do it, I don't deserve the credit? So I'm here today to just say thank you, and thank you for inspiring me. I hope in some way I have inspired you. Please join the effort in mentoring, and again, know it's not only a responsibility, but you will get more joy out of that in your career than probably anything you do. There's no chance the work that we're doing today individually will outlast the impression that we leave on others. And Ferolyn left a huge impression on me, and I know she did all of you. And Liz, thank you very much.